and welcome to another edition of You Can Get There From Here. I'm Dr. Joe Moore, Chair of the Department of Communication and Digital Media Production at the University of Central Missouri, and it is my pleasure every week to get to visit with members of our alumni. I get to talk to those who graduated in digital media production, some who graduated in communication studies, and others who got their master's degree at UCM. We talk about the program and how it helped them get there where they are today, and we talk a little bit about their career. Today, we are visiting with Megan Hedrick. Megan got her bachelor's degree in music tech with a minor in sport communication, and then she decided to come back and get her master's degree. Megan, good to have you with us. How you doing today?
I'm good. It's good to be here. Good to be talking with you.
Yeah, you too. It's been a while. So
Yeah.
you're loving life right now because you've got a couple of jobs going on. You are on the daily. Your full-time job is Parks and Rec with Johnson County, Kansas.
hmm
And then a couple of evenings a month, you get to go out to Kauffman Stadium and work Crown Vision for the Royals, who are in the hunt this year. That's got to be fun.
Yeah, I'm waiting for that postseason schedule. I know those games are going to be a hot commodity for people wanting to work being
Yeah,
out there.
yeah, those will be exciting. So let's start off. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Introduce yourself to the audience and where you're from, what brought you to UCM, and then what kept you around.
So I'm from Kansas City, Missouri, born and raised. So just the Northland, kind of right around World of Fun. I went to Winnetonka High School. I was a big music kid in high school. I played the flute middle school all the way through college while I was at UCM. So for the longest time, I had really thought that I wanted to be in music in some capacity, but I didn't like performing in front of people, and I knew I didn't want to be a teacher. So I was like, well, maybe I'll do something in the music industry, like the business. So then I started looking at programs and I saw that UCM had an up and coming music technology program that was really, really well rated. And, Warrensburg was only about an hour from where I grew up. So I was like, well,
Warrensburg's an hour from everything in
yeah,
Kansas City. I
yeah.
found. Doesn't matter what direction you're going up there, it's 1 hour.
hmm Yeah. So that's kind of what led me there was the music tech program. And then when I was looking at, I knew I was going to get my master's like directly after receiving my bachelor's. So I just decided, well, I'm already here. I might as well stay.
Outstanding. You
Yeah.
did the music tech major. And you
hmm
minored in sport comm. That's kind of an interesting combination. What got you into our department with the sport communication minor?
So not only was I a big music kid growing up, I also played, almost every sport under the sun, very, very active from, when I was 5 up through high school, and I even did some intramurals in college. So I really, really enjoyed playing sports and watching sports. And so when I found out about the sports communication minor, I was like, oh, that sounds super interesting. And then at that point in my academic journey, I was kind of thinking I was going to away from the music side of things, but still, do audio related. So I was like, oh, I can do the sports comm and be a part of the broadcasting and learn all those aspects and then take my knowledge from music tech and translate that to the sports broadcasting side of things.
And that's one of those things when we think of sports broadcasting, everybody's paying attention to the picture and what
hmm
the visuals they're seeing. They forget about, you just kind of take for granted there's the audio there and somebody's bringing that audio to, the crack of the bat and the roar of the crowd and the announcers and the sideline. And there's a lot of audio components that go into a sports broadcast, aren't there?
Yeah, definitely. It was kind of eye-opening, I would say, when I started doing the broadcasting side. And I mean, shout out to the sports comm program when I first got there and got started, that's when they just got in their big production trailer. So to really see all that and all the different aspects that go into it was really cool and impressive.
Yeah, I always tease Darren Plummer, who teaches our sports broadcasting classes, that, when I taught the class, we were just getting it started and we had this portable box we took around with our TriCaster system. And then when he started, they got the trailer. And I'm like, yeah, I used to teach this class with R2D2 and you get to fly the Millennium Falcon. So
Yeah.
we're pretty proud of that thing.
Yeah, I think our first couple broadcasts when it was like volleyball season and we were still working out of that little like 10, 15-foot trailer and there
Mhm.
was like a window AC unit and maybe like six of us could squeeze in there at one time and then they were like, "Oh, we got the trailer's coming, the big broadcasting trailer's coming." And then within like that first month or so to go from that tiny, tiny little like hot box of a trailer to the big like there's air conditioning units and everybody's got their own seat and desk and there's like 20 TVs in there. It was crazy.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun to be a part of that program and see it evolve. So you mentioned that you knew when you were working on your undergrad, you were going to stick around and go and get your master's degree. What led to that decision and what led you into the master's in communication?
Um, I just always, been was very academically minded. Um, even when I was in high school, so I knew that I wanted to get some sort of higher level uh degree. So I was just kind of had it in my head that I was always going to get a master's degree, not necessarily always knowing what it was going to be in. So then when I was wrapping things up, it was like I think my senior year, and that's when I was really more involved in the broadcasting side of things with DMP and sports comm. That's when I was like, well, maybe some mass communication, and I could continue to take those kinds of classes and stay in the communication department. And I then was thinking, well, maybe if I can't do broadcasting, I could get into more of like marketing or that type of thing, like social media for content creator type of stuff. So I was like, well, having a mass communications degree, and then you learn all that types of stuff, and then you can really use that knowledge um, almost anywhere, really.
Yeah, that's one of the things we talk about with the communication side of it is it's really a versatile degree that you can apply in so many different places. I mean, you've got a bachelor's in music tech, you have a master, a minor in sport communication. You've been able to continue applying that. So how has that benefited you? How has your master's degree in communication benefited you in your role with Johnson County, Kansas Parks and Recreation and with the Crown Vision?
So really right now the biggest benefit to me at my current job with Parks and Rec, with my position, I'm kind of like just there's like 60 of us that do the same job of before and after school care with the kids running those programs. But then there's a smaller group of us there's six of us right now, and we're like slightly elevated above everybody else that we work with. And so we're in charge of putting on trainings in our different like specialty areas. So even just this morning, before I hopped on the Zoom call, I was working on putting together a presentation. So I'm doing research for the presentation, creating it, and then presenting it to these different groups of people to teach them. So that's where I think it really comes in the most for me is I know how to do that research. I know how to put a presentation together. I know how to present it well instead of just here's a bunch of information on a slide. Take with it
Yeah.
what you will.
Yeah, I think
Um,
that's, sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
no, and that was like, at the Royals. I mean, it's hard. I'm really just the person behind the camera, so there's not a whole lot that I've been able to do with it there, I would say. But definitely in my, day-to-day full-time job, I'm using it quite a bit.
Yeah, you're able to apply the bachelor's degree with what you're doing with the Royals and then take the master's and the extended. And that's part of what we talk about with a master's degree, what it helps that next level of doing the research and the more in-depth communication and leadership and picks you into some of those supervisory roles. So glad to see that's working out for you. So
Yeah.
last question that I have for everybody, because we want to pick your brains a little bit and take advantage of your experience is to share with a current student at UCM some advice and what you would say to them as they're working on their bachelor's, maybe thinking about a master's degree, or as they're working on their master's degree. And then what would you say to a prospective student who's thinking about where they want to go to college? Why should they come to UCM?
So piece of advice for a current student, I would say if they're already working on their undergrad and they're considering going for their master's, I would say if you're on the fence about it, definitely do it, or at least give it a shot. Um, I know there's a lot that's happened in the last 4 years. Like nobody could have predicted a global pandemic, and that's changed. Like honestly, COVID's the reason I have my full-time job now. But I mean, just with all of the different classes I was able to take and the things I learned and the connections that I made from being in the program and getting that, I think it was well worth it. And I think I'm much, much better off now having my master's degree compared to just a bachelor's degree, which I mean, it was beneficial. And like I said, I mix and match taking music tech and sports comm, but I definitely think having that master's degree like raised my, I don't know, like raise my rank a little bit, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Just, I would say definitely if you're, like I said, on the fence, go for it, do it. And then for a prospective student thinking about where they're going to go to school, I picked UCM for one specific program, music tech. That's when I started out. And now I see on Facebook, the music tech group, like that program has just exploded. I think they have over
Yep.
110 students between, bachelor's and master's, which is awesome. And that's the great thing about UCM, I think, is that all of the programs are just growing and you get so much hands-on experience. Like music technology, we had all the studios, and then my class was a part of helping, build and design all of the different sound structures. And we implemented a lot of new stuff just in the 4 years that I was there in the program. And then same with sports communication. Like I mentioned, we went from the little trailer when I first started to state of the art broadcasting trailer, and you're in there getting hands-on experience. And it's not like you can't get that from bigger schools, but I feel like it's just different. You get more face time with your instructors and professors, and there's a lot of really, really skilled and knowledgeable people that you get to work and interact with. And I think that that's really what sets UCM apart from a lot of other schools.
Well, Megan, I'm glad you had a great experience here. I'm glad that you've been able to parlay that into it. Sounds like a very fulfilling job working with Johnson County and the Parks and Rec and working with those kiddos. Thank you for all the work you're doing. We're proud of you. Keep up the good work.
All right, I will do. Thank you.
And thanks all of you for tuning in today. Remember, you can catch every episode on our YouTube channel through the UCM Media Network. That's youtube.com/UCMMN. You can also listen on Spotify. Special thanks to Jake Mager for creating our theme music. Again, this is Dr. Joe Moore reminding you, you can get there from here. Have a great day.